Good afternoon and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Providence Holy Cross Medical Center. I'm Barbara Clark with my co-host,
Cardon Ellis,
on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And our first guest this morning is my co-host, Cardon Ellis from Unipest. How are you today, sir?
Crushing it. Crushing it. Remember we worked on slang last time? That's millennial slang, not Gen Z slang. But yeah, so I'm doing well, Barbara. How are you doing?
I'm doing better than well. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So I brought you a gift. Well, not a gift. I'm not giving to you this. This is actually has a very specific spot on top of my equipment rack because it is still functional. But it's a gift that I am bringing it in to actually make good on the promise that I would show this to you, and I might restore another one and see if I can't just give it to you as a little memento.
Oh my!
You know what I'm saying? But look what I brought. I don't know if you remember, but 3 weeks ago when I was here last time, I told you that I had restored what?
A radio.
Yeah, this is now I want you to do something. So the audience that can't see, if you're listening on the radio, I've just brought a 1939 Zenith AM and shortwave radio before it was outlawed post-war. The family I got this from in Bakersfield that I restored it for listened to the suicide of Adolf Hitler in Bakersfield post-war. This is a pre-war radio, just barely pre-war, that made it through the war and then was stored in an airplane hangar before I had to take all the guts out. And shout out to Ralph Klimek in Tustin, California, who redid all of the guts and the tubes. But look at that dial, Jen.
It's a beautiful...
Now, here's what you have to do. You're going to get a blast from the past. It's not plugged in, so it won't turn on. But turn that dial until it clicks. Everybody that remembers these radios as a kid that were popular until the 70s, does that not just that feeling bring back memories?
Oh, my goodness. And how old is this again?
This is a 1939 Zenith. It was the biggest company in America, the most popular company in America.
I was born in 36.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And I lived through the Second World War.
Yeah.
So did that.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
So
it turns off and turns on. Look at that. Oh, I remember doing that. Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that wild? I know my father, and this is what's so intergenerational. It's one of the reasons why I know some people say that like radio is a redheaded stepchild of entertainment, and it's definitely not as well funded as Hollywood movies or as streaming and video games and everything.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but
you did a beautiful job of fixing it.
Oh, I was just the producer on this project. Just like Hollywood movies have producers. Shout out also to Bill Hare, who's a friend of mine and a Santa Clarita resident, super talented woodmaker. In fact, what's so crazy is his house. He's like one of those dudes, like where it's just next level. His wife just gave up on the garage 20 years ago, and he has every single high-end woodworking tool possible stuffed into every nook and cranny of his backyard, his front yard. He's probably got 5 storage units, but this is old school. They don't even use it anymore, but shellac.
Yes, shellac.
Yeah, it used to be that there was an excrement of some sort, some kind of not a hormone or a pheromone. I don't know what kind of fluid it was. It's not waste material, but there's some kind of secretion. That's the word I was looking for, from a type of beetle that could be made into a very shiny finish on wood. So if I'm not mistaken, this is old school walnut, original walnut, and he was able to track down consistent with 1930s shellac, the same formulation of shellac, and then redo it. And then these are actual replica Bakelite knobs, the very first plastic invented in America was actually for knobs, and it was called Bakelite, and that's what these little knobs are. And you can move the other knobs and see how it's tuned to AM 1220 right now, because there's no FM on these things. Frequency modulation wasn't popular until after the war.
No, it wasn't. But I remember my mom and dad had their radio on the fireplace, on the what do you call it? The fireplace has
a mantle?
Like a
mantle.
Yeah.
And I always tried to reach up to turn it on.
Uh-huh.
And I always had a hard time. And that's the reason why they put it up there, because I kept turning it on. They had it in the kitchen, on the kitchen table. And I kept turning it on, and they finally said, it's going up on the shelf, on the mantelpiece. And that's where they put it, so I couldn't reach it.
Uh-huh.
And I was afraid to get on a chair, pull a chair over there to turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I remember that.
Would you listen to the old shortwave radio stations when you came to America and you were younger? Or had that fallen out of popularity already?
Now that I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
Because pre-war, it was very common that immigrant families, whether from England or Germany or Holland or Africa or wherever, there would be shortwave radio stations, which is a signal that's even deeper than medium wave, which is we call AM radio now. And that can travel over oceans. It's not a very good signal, as in it's not hi-fi, or super crisp and clear, but you can tell vocal tones and music well enough. And so it would be common that if you look on the dial here, I'm actually going to be historically accurate here. On shortwave, it says, for example, like Switzerland, Morocco, Japan,
Oh my goodness.
Australia, England, Germany, France, Italy, and these are all at 25 meters, 31 meters, 38 meters, 42 meters, so on and so forth. So you used to be able, these immigrant populations could tune in to the most popular shortwave station overseas. And we still have seniors that are listening to the show that probably remember listening to some of the German radio stations as children, the Italian ones. There were British ones that were popular, but we would send our World War II and Cold War propaganda out via shortwave, and it was so effective, we didn't want it done to us. So the U.S. government and the newly formed FCC put pressure on the manufacturers to not build radios that could receive shortwave radio. So post-war, shortwave radio fell out of favor, and they kind of marketed it. I don't want to say it was a bait and switch, but frequency modulation was such clearer signal that it ended up becoming FM radio, and shortwave was replaced with FM. So instead of it being shortwave and medium wave radios, meaning shortwave and AM, it was AM FM radios, AM and frequency modulated. But there's a whole era of radio that, like, I want to write a movie script on, because when this was done and radio first started coming out in the 20s and 30s, there was no FCC regulating who can broadcast on what signal. So if it was popular to broadcast on AM 1220, but I didn't like Carl and Jerry, I could just go build my own radio tower on the other side of town, and I could connect more juice to it with more batteries and more outlets, and I could broadcast my radio signal at AM 1220, and then people all of a sudden would be listening to me. And if there was somebody that didn't like me, they could go to the southern end of town, and then they could go and they could broadcast their own, and then everybody in the middle of town would hate it because they're receiving 3 radio signals at once. So there was mobs of people, like we're talking during the gang days, all right, the shoot 'em up game days. And I'm not kidding you, I'm literally writing a script on this. They were called the radio wars of the 1920s. There were thugs and gangsters that would invest in radio stations, because I mean, it is entertainment, right? And if another station was broadcasting on their frequency, they'd be like, yeah, nice frequency you got there. It'd be a shame if your radio tower disappeared one day. And so they're like climbing on top of these houses with radios, towers on them, and tearing them down or destroying the equipment. It was pandemonium because there was no one regulating. There was no one actually regulating like what frequency you could broadcast on, because the government didn't even know this stuff like existed outside of its like military capacity. So people don't realize, sometimes we get frustrated with like the overregulation of bureaucracy, because now we're 100 years detached from like the chaos that existed before the regulation happened. But it was a legit problem. People buying radios and then not knowing who they were listening to because multiple people were broadcasting on the same band. So anyway,
interesting. I wonder how many seniors who live here have a radio like this, or remember having one like this.
my father, shout out Craig if he's listening, I restored a console version of this for him. Do you know what the console versions were?
No.
This is what's called a tabletop version, or in your case, a mantle-top version.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The console ones, you remember the big ones?
Oh, yeah.
That were like as...
Oh, yeah, they stood up this high.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I remember those.
What would your mother put on top of it?
A flower pot.
Yes. Go on Facebook Marketplace right now, and there's nothing but old console radios, and they all have a circle just worn in the top of them from the overflow of a flower pot. Like literally every single one of them just have this.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's like a bathtub ring of a flower pot in there. But I restored one of those for my father, and he listens to this radio station, listens to AM 1220, but the Dodger games on it, and just like your face changed. I wish the audience could have seen it. If you're listening on the radio, her face just totally changed. It went back 30 to 50 years. If you're watching on Facebook, the live stream of this program, you'll actually see the 1939 Zenith. I'm going to point it so that the live stream camera can see it. But when he turned it on the first time and he heard the crackle of the vacuum tubes, and he literally said, I haven't heard this sound since I was a child in the 70s, and he would listen to, this is a throwback, but the seniors are going to appreciate this. He would listen to the ABA games. He grew up in Bountiful, Utah, near Salt Lake City, and he was a huge basketball fan. This was before the NBA was the NBA, and there was competing leagues that had different basketball teams in this new sport called basketball that had only gone professional in the past decade. It was basketball to him growing up then in the 70s was akin to like pickleball now. People know about it. It's coming out of obscurity. It's getting much more popular, but we don't really have well-known professionals yet, or like a professional league that's coming, that's happening. But we're at the forefront of that sport's popularity. He was an original basketball fan, and he would listen to baseball games and would listen to basketball games on his grandmother's console radio that had a flower pot.
And I also, my mom and dad also had one that had the top that pulled up, and it had the 78 records that you could play on it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They had the radio, the console here, and then on the other side, along with the speakers down in here, they had the record player.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Those records were, of course, they were about this big, great big ones, because the little ones weren't around then.
Uh-huh.
But they used to play the records on the record player.
Oh, man. That is a welcome
that.
Resurgence. I have to tell you, me and my children are going through the resurgence of vinyl. I think I asked you this once before, like 6 weeks ago, but I totally forgot. Do you remember your first record purchase? Maybe your first one, or what's one of the first records you remember purchasing?
I don't remember. But it was a classic. It was a classical piece of music.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't like the blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that's it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I hated that music. I was more of a classical type mood, comforting type of music, a relaxing type of music. So those records were one of my first that I bought.
Okay, cool. Hey.
And of course, I was over here when I bought it because my parents bought all the stuff back then. But no, that was amazing.
Yeah, so think of all those memories that just came from you just turning on one little Bakelite knob. You know,
amazing.
If you ever come to my house, you have to. Check out this 1964. I think I got the year down. I don't think it was 74. I think it was 64. But either way, 60s or 70s technology. I restored one of the original pull-out bottle where you put a quarter in, or it says 10 cents on there. You put 10 cents in and you get a glass bottle of soda out. And there's this mechanism with a wheel on it that keeps the bottle from being able to be taken out, because you can open up the refrigerator part. You know, you can just open up and feel the cool air, but until you put in the dime, it doesn't release. The mechanism.
Oh my goodness!
Shout out. I had a contractor. Come over to my house. Shout out Paul Harris of San Francisco Canyon. I think half of Santa Clarita knows this guy. Okay, another beloved senior of our valley. He come over to my house checking in on a project that he was doing in conjunction with Unipest, my termite control company. He's a very talented kind of like carpenter, general contractor guy that does really good woodwork as well. He came over. We were discussing a project, and I said, "Hey, do you want a drink?" And he reaches over, and he's like, "No, you have one of these?" Opens it up, and he pulls out a bottle, and you hear it go ka-clink, ka-clink, shunk, and you hear the other bottles come down and fill its spot. And he stopped for a second. I'll never forget this. He stopped, and he looked at the bottle, and he said, "I haven't felt that sensation in 40 years. You know what I'm saying? And he just like looks at the bottle, and I was like, "Yeah, baby, it's awesome. It's awesome." So if that's happening with vinyl, man, I'm gonna take you, Babs, and we're gonna go to that vinyl record store that's on Railroad Avenue, and we're gonna find that classical album that's in 78, what's it called? That was named after the RPMs, right?
Yeah.
The RPMs. Yeah. So we're going to get you, it's not a 45, it's a 78. We're going to get you a 78, and we're going to find that thing, and we're going to put that on my record player at home, and you're going to hear it, and you're just going to be like, "I haven't heard this song in 50 years, and it's going to be awesome." We got to figure out what album that was. So, yeah.
My goodness.
So, wow, I thought this was going to be like a 2-minute thing, and it ended up being like a 20-minute thing. Holy smokes.
It's beautiful, but I was thinking about this when you said, you turn the knob and it'll bring Barbara back to, her youth and childhood. Think about what they're going to be looking at for the two of us, Cardon, because you and I are closer in age. Think about, they're going to be laughing at CDs and
rotary
they're already
phones.
laughing at cassette tapes. My kids are like, "What is this flat silver circle thing, Mom?" And you put your coffee on it, and it's just so weird to think about what technology is going to be. I don't want to say laughable, but just archaic.
I've already seen the TikToks where when you and I were kids and we talked about like, well, this is how they did it like back in the 60s. Mm-hmm. I've already heard kids say like, yeah, well, so like I've seen TikToks literally of young kids now showing other kids how to listen to cassettes, saying, well, this is how they did it like way back in the 90s.
The 1900s.
With the same disdain as we spoke about the 60s. And I did the mental math and I was like, you know what? 90s is to the 60s as the way 2020s is to the 90s. Holy crap, we've come full circle.
How's that for depressing?
Yeah. So anyway, we got to take a break now. I'm having a ton of fun. Hopefully you're having a ton of fun. Tell all your senior friends to tune in to the Senior Hour after these brief commercial messages. You're listening to the Senior Hour with Barbara, our host, and Cardon Ellis, I'm your co-host today, on Hometown Station, FM 98.1, AM 1220, KHTS.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Cardon Ellis, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220 KHTS. And our guest now is Amy Daniels from the WiSH Education Foundation. And you gave us both a interesting piece of paper here that it says, "Will you go over the edge?" Now, what does that mean?
It's very literal, actually. Will you go over the edge? So we are the WiSH Education Foundation. Let me just tell you what we do really
Yes,
quickly so you
yes.
know. We bridge the gap in state funding for education for the over 21,000 students here in the Hart District. And most people think that public education is free, but it's not.
No.
And the funding that the schools do get from state and national sources doesn't pay for everything that our kids need, and that's what WiSH does. Is we step in. Our funding focus is STEAM with an emphasis on student wellness. We have funded all the wellness centers on all campuses district-wide, and we fund student programs. So STEAM is science, technology, engineering, the arts and math and everything under the wellness umbrella. It's a lot. And we need the community's help. We do everything by fundraiser. And we're trying to think outside the box and try to figure out something that is very fun to do, very outside the box, and something right up SEV's alley. And it's over the edge. And it's an opportunity for people to rappel off of a building.
It actually is over the
It
edge.
absolutely
and
is.
I have done this.
All right.
Oh, yes, I have done this.
Nice.
Oh,
So
my
this is
goodness.
actually, this is easy stuff. This is 6 stories. I mean, they sometimes do it for
What?
buildings that
Oh,
are
yeah.
25
Six
or 30 stories.
No. Okay,
on.
you're not allowed to swear at AM 1220, and this almost made me swear. I'm looking at this picture. Look, is that a friend of yours?
That is not a friend of mine,
Okay.
but
For those that are listening on the radio, you can't see it, but for those that are on Facebook watching our live stream, there is a very athletic and very smiley woman with a GoPro on her head, literally going over the side of, it looks like the parking garage on Main Street, and she seems way too comfortable. Like, that is, no, I
this
have
is
vertigo
why,
just looking at this
Cardon,
paper.
This is why she's comfortable and why she has a smile on her face. Because this company, Over the Edge, has worked with Special Olympics for 20 years. They have a 20-year, 100% safety rating.
Yeah, you're going to be special as soon as you reach the bottom of that freaking 6-4-story
come on,
drop.
This is such a great thing. It's not for people who are athletic. In fact, the only requirements are that you are between 100 and 300 pounds, and that can be including
Okay,
a non-motorized wheelchair. So we can take.
Shut up.
I'm telling you, we can even take non-motorized wheelchairs. We can take. People have difficulty moving. I mean, this is open to just about.
Well, now I
everyone.
have to go because I usually
You
get
have to.
DQ'd because of my weight.
There
I'm
you go.
266 pounds.
You're
this
in,
week,
man.
Are
You're
you
in.
kidding me? Yeah.
This
like,
is so much fun. This is for anybody who wants to just do something different.
And you will love it. It is one of the most challenging things I have done. And I've flown out of airplanes. I've climbed the Eiffel Tower. I've walked the
You
Great
go,
Wall
girl.
of China. I've done it all. I really have.
I love it.
That
have.
that reminds me of something we're going to get back to later. But I do have one question for you and you, if you've done all this cool stuff. I still don't know, what does WiSH Education Foundation stand for? I heard that it was an acronym, so I've thought up. I'm just guessing here.
Here
I'm
we
just
go.
guessing
Here
here.
we go.
But is it William? Because I see William S. Hart's logo on there. Is it William is super handsome? Is that it, or is it wimpy but intelligent superheroes? Or is it, there's a vulgar joke in here with the S and the H, but I want to know what's the acronym stand for?
It's not nearly as exciting as your choices. I think we're going to have a board vote and change it
Yes,
to one
change
of
it
his
to
things.
something.
Wimpy but intelligent superheroes?
I love
that. You know what I'm saying? That would be
go
cool.
with the wimpy thing. I don't know about that, but it's William S. Hart School District with the I thrown in lowercase. So we've got WSH in uppercase and I in lowercase.
Okay, that's
Because-
kind of cute, but that's a little bit anticlimactic. I was hoping for like wild, inhibited social media hipsters or something like
Well,
really cool.
That's what we're going to change it to, because we need to change it to something fun. But we're not
Okay.
going to focus on the name because it's what we do.
That's right.
important.
So how much
what
money
you
have you
do.
raised? Like, I got to tell you, I love programs like this. I went to Santa Clarita Elementary back in the day, and I loved my public education in the Santa Clarita Valley. And I know there's a lot of people here that move here because you get a world-class K through 12 education that you would have to pay in the Valley or down in Los Angeles $20,000 to $45,000 a year for. Like, our public education here in Santa Clarita is second to none. It's won a bazillion awards. It does great, everything from special ed all the way up to
yeah.
AP classes in high school.
Absolutely.
And you get, with just regular public education here, what you would have to pay for privately over the hill. So I look back at my public education and I just can't believe how good it was. And one of the reasons it was good was because the PTA, now called the PTC, but the PTA had a consortium of entertainment industry fathers and mothers that would donate money to pay for our art classes. The state budget didn't actually cover, from my understanding, in the 90s.
We help cover arts. Oh gosh, there's so much that we do.
So how much money do you actually collect? How can people pay? Like, how can people get involved? Because these kind of supplementary programs are a lifeline to some kids.
They really
that
are.
Otherwise would just be completely overlooked.
We've distributed over $700,000 to student programs, and we don't give money. We find out, from the schools exactly what they're missing, what they need, and we provide those things in all the areas that we talked about. So there's almost nothing that we wouldn't consider. We do a lot of special education too, in addition to STEM, all the wellness things. The wellness umbrella has expanded so much because of all the anxiety in our schools. So,
Yes.
it makes my head want to pop off my body what's not covered. How can you have a kid who wants to join band, but there's not an instrument available?
Tragedy.
Or take, graphic arts classes and there's not a graphic arts tablet for them. It's just not okay. So that's where WiSH steps in, and we are, we're always fighting an uphill battle because so many people think that, public education is free. And we really consider ourselves, and thank you for saying that, Cardon, a true community nonprofit, because someday when you want to go sell your house, you're going to want that good school down the street because that's going to help make the sale. So it's our job
Until
to
they
help.
close it, like Santa Clarita Elementary, and we can get into that a little bit later.
Sorry,
No, I'm just kidding.
But we're the Heart District, so we're grades 7 through 12. The
All right, you are
21,000
given a
students.
stay of execution.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But anybody can go on wisheducationfoundation.org and they can support us right there, right at support WiSH, right at the top.
So it's like buying a ticket to do something semi-suicidal, like jump off the side of a building
We're
with
going
ropes?
to stay away from those kind of
that-
words.
Is that
away.
okay, crazy?
Not crazy.
Nuts?
This is not for
I'm
people
looking
who
at this
are
picture.
Barbara.
I'm looking at
Or
this picture.
me. That
You
does
said she
stuff
could
like
do it in
that.
a wheelchair. It's more for Barbara. I'm going to get you the coolest wheelchair, and we're going to put you over the side, even
I
if you
have
don't
a
need it.
wheelchair at home.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and I have 2 walking sticks.
Then I'm going to buy it for myself, and I'm going to borrow one, because apparently up to 300 pounds, you can get this thing done.
You'd want to go down by yourself if you're able to do that, but it's totally cool. And yes, every penny that we raise, it goes into the programs in the Heart District.
This actually, honestly, all joking aside, guys, this looks like a ton of fun.
Yep.
It
And
is.
I'm actually surprised the city sprang for it because
The
you know,
city sprang for it? Wait a
like
minute.
gave you a permit and said yes.
Yeah,
Because
well, you know why? Because they looked at all of the paperwork and deemed it safe and a great opportunity for us to raise funds for our local community.
I'm first in line. I'm
it's
first
great.
in line.
Good. We would love for you to do it. It really is amazing, and it kind of works like a marathon. If you're signing up to do a marathon and you're working with a nonprofit, you just raise the money for the rappel goal or the run goal, and then you go, and then we'll give you a T-shirt and send you down over the edge. I was just talking to Jason Gibbs. He's on our city council last night. Jason's doing it. It's going to be great.
They allow redheads?
And okay, I have
Oh,
a son
no.
that's a redhead. You stop that right now.
I'm
Right
friends
now.
with Jason as well. I helped him
awesome.
on his campaign.
Yeah,
Yes.
so he's going to be doing it.
That's
Jason's
funny.
doing it, and he's challenged a couple of other people to do it. We have also the city.
Do you hear that, Jason? I'm going to race you. Oh, race. We should bet. That's probably illegal in California, isn't it?
I'm staying completely out of that. But I can send people down the road. So if ropes together. So if somebody emails me at wish@heartdistrict.org, if they're signed up, I'll send a challenge to somebody else.
Really?
Yep, I'll send them a challenge. Say, you've been challenged to go over the edge.
I challenge you, Jason Gibbs, to a rappel off of the Main Street parking garage
Right.
at Newhall Crossings.
Well, he's already doing it.
$100.
Oh,
$100. It's on the line right now for the
That's
WiSH
so
Foundation.
funny. That's so
$100. I'll
Well.
let him win because I'm mortified by this. He will probably win, and I'll
It's
just end
gonna-
up giving you $100.
We'll take it. We'll take anything. We're just so thrilled to be able to provide something really unique and fun. And it's right down here in the Lemley Courtyard
That's cool.
over there. And there's going to be a family-friendly festival at the bottom. And then from 1 to 4, we have something called the Liquid Courage Cove. So you can come and you can watch your friends. You can buy a ticket to the Liquid Courage Cove and get food and drinks. Where the VIP party is going to be held in McGinn's with a tent attached to it. So you can buy a ticket just for that for $35 and come and enjoy and watch people rappelling off of the building. Results Fitness, they're one of our sponsors. They're going to be out there allowing people to use ropes and figure out how to do
Really?
it. Yeah, it's going to be totally cool. Events for kids.
Wow, this man, can you do more events, please? Like, I still have this theory in this town that like they say no to all the fun permits unless it's in the name of charity, at which point kind of like any haunted house goes. You know what I'm
So
saying?
you need
Any
to get
cult
on
that
our
goes-
website.
Can
and
you
need to-
do
yeah.
a go-kart Grand Prix down Main Street, around Market Street, and then back around the New Hall Library next year?
Right.
Because I think that would be really, really fun.
That's a
It
totally
would.
different permit.
And I'd pay for that ticket. You know. Okay.
And this one too. I'm expecting you to be there, Cardon.
Okay. No, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be there with my friends. Oh, speaking of which, just let's
You
get
can
the
sign
W5.
up as a team, by the
No,
way, too.
you need to rappel.
Oh no, I know. I worked at the rock climbing wall at Magic
Right.
Mountain.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, way
So-
back in the day. Shout out Pacific Walnuts was the name of the company.
Wow.
Wall dash
Got-
nuts.
I got that one.
You know, yeah, exactly.
I got that one.
So
but
he-
you could sign up as an individual or you could sign up as a team.
Oh no, I'm forcing my daughter and my son to do this. I'm
Okay.
that father that mortifies his children
Okay.
into having
That
life
used to be me, too.
experiences.
You
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
you're going to have them do the rappelling and
Good
you're
for
not going to
them.
do it?
Oh no, I'll
No,
be
he's
next
gonna
to
do it.
him.
You're gonna-
but
okay.
yeah, my kids will be able to say they went rappelling. And that was another great thing that was so phenomenal about my education growing up in Santa Clarita is before, unfortunately, the tides changed and the support changed and the organization was weakened. There were so many Boy Scout troops out here
Right.
that would go rappelling in Vasquez Rocks. I'd go up to the
Right.
Rower Flats and a bunch of these other places within just a 10-minute drive. You would have amazing rappelling experience. So this looks like, all joking aside, a ton of fun. Let's get the W5 out of the way. The who, the what, the where, the when, and the why. It's the WiSH Foundation putting on the Over the Edge activity that's going to be at the New Hall Crossing August 2nd, 2025. So that's coming up soon here. Why are we doing it? Because I assume, do the ticket sales go towards the WiSH Foundation? or
Everything, every
just-
single thing goes towards WiSH and then to our school, to our student programs benefiting our
That's
21,000
incredible.
students.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely
great.
wonderful.
Everything. And we, for this whole last month, because we're running out of time here, we need people to sign up because they need to reach their rappel goal by July 26th. So we're skipping over the registration fee and they can go right in and set up their fundraiser right
Okay.
from the link on our website.
Well, you just got 4 more tickets with my family.
Excellent.
Barbara, are you going to do it? Be honest. Are you going to try?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. I don't
What
think
if
so.
I send you strongly worded text messages once every 48 hours for the next 2 weeks?
But I've already done this.
Ah, that's true.
before.
That's true. You've got
I
bragging
don't- yeah,
rights. You've got
and-
bragging rights.
At my age, I don't need to do something.
She's done a lot of the cool stuff, jumping out of planes and stuff.
Oh, I have. I've done it all. I really have. I've been very,
To this
very
day,
lucky.
I say I want her as a neighbor. I want her as a
really-
neighbor. I want to be able to
really
tell my
fun.
children, go over to Aunt Babs right now. You think you got it hard? You think you got it hard? She survived the war. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
like,
that's right. I did.
that's
Well,
awesome.
But you would
Right,
have
the
done
bomb.
this in the day because you have done this. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
that's the important thing to remember.
Yes.
We want everyone to have a really good time and make a difference in our community. So
Cool. And then last.
It's scary, but it's exciting because of what you're actually doing and where you are, and you're looking up at the sky and you're looking down and you're looking down and you think, how far down is it? How much further do I have to go? Please.
you know what? I went to one of these down in Universal City and spoke to people in the landing zone, they call it. Every single one of them had a smile on their face. And one guy turned to me and said, I didn't even know that was on my bucket list.
Oh, that's a good one-liner.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to end on that.
It is. It's such an exciting thing to do. It
Yeah.
really is. You will love it.
Okay, one last
Absolutely
time.
love it.
The W5, it's Over the Edge for the WiSH Foundation of the William S. Hart Foundation. It's August 2nd, 2025 at the Newhall Crossings. That's right by the Lemley Courtyard. There's plenty of cool stuff for seniors to do, plenty of cool stuff for young kids to do. It sounds like it's a blast for the entire family. KHTS is giving a full-throated endorsement of the activity, and you're probably going to see me and my family out there. Maybe Babs will swing by and say hi and support other people. Hopefully getting a picture as smiley as this one going, quote, over the edge. You've been listening to the Senior Hour on your hometown station, FM 98.1, AM 1220, KHTS, hosted by Barbara Corcoran, and I've been the co-host, Cardon Ellis. We look forward to see you guys after these commercial messages.
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Corcoran with my co-host, Cardon Ellis, on your hometown station, 98.1 FM, AM 1220, KHTS. And we're speaking now with Amy Daniels of the WiSH Education Foundation, and we're talking about an exciting event that is coming up on August 2nd, 2025. But let's find out a little bit more about you and your involvement in the WiSH Education Foundation, how you got into this position.
Oh, you know what? Back in the day, which was like 19 something, which is why I'm on the senior show.
Jeez, man.
You know, when I was a project manager in the tech world, and when you have kids and they go into school, and you know the existing parents find out that you do something that might be able to help them, then it's all over. It's all over. And so but I loved it. You know, I loved being involved, and you once you get past the elementary school age, you start, you know, the people who are left helping out are there to really dig in deep, I think, for the rest of the time that your kids are in school. And you start helping out on different committees and councils and that kind of thing. And that's what I did. And the next thing I knew, I was speaking in front of the governor on behalf of local education advocates, which was very cool.
Wow.
And then I got a call one day from the superintendent, and he said, Amy, you know, this was after the 2008, you know, loss of a lot of funding. And he said, we need to start, you know, an education foundation. So can you be a part of this? And I said, okay, let's do that. That was going all the way to, that was 2011. Where a bunch of education advocates got together in a room and said, okay, let's do this. And so I've been with them. The only other founding member who's still with WiSH is Ed Masterson, who you probably
bless his
know.
heart.
I don't know if you know
What a
Ed.
wonderful person.
I
No,
know.
but based off of Barbara's reaction, I feel like I'm missing out.
He is one
Oh.
of the nicest guys in our valley.
He
and
is,
he has been
absolutely.
with WiSH. Isn't he a doll? And he's been with WiSH ever since that meeting in 2011, and he's still with us, working hard to make a difference for the
And
students in our valley.
he has done so much to help this valley.
He is a former SCV Man of the Year.
Oh, yes.
Year.
Oh, wow,
I
that
don't.
sounds
I don't
great.
remember what year. I was.
Only
I was
like
in,
5 years ago.
Yeah. Well,
4 or 5
I
years ago.
got Woman of the Year in 1985.
Wait, you got that too?
Woman of the Year.
Man, I feel like the guy that's at the Oscar
was
party
it-
that just
it was-
hasn't won an
You're
Oscar.
young,
You
Carmen.
know,
You're
Jeez.
young.
It was either 83. Oh, I've got the book here.
Yep. Barbara
So
too.
while you're looking up that,
Yeah.
Barbara, I asked Amy here during the commercial break to write down some of her favorite programs and things that the money that's raised, especially from this activity we were talking about, Over the Edge, what some of her favorite activities were that they sponsor for the youth that are the benefactors of these fundraisers. And her handwriting is horrible in some kind of strange language that she tells me is called cursive, that she wrote music thruple spatial ed. So apparently they're doing like space age stuff. And then communion software. So you're developing, there's a big Catholic population at Williams Hart. And then Walker's News. So they're providing news for The Walking Dead. So you're big time into zombie films. Can
oh
you
my
decipher what do you call this for
That
us
is
young
so
people
funny.
that don't read cursive?
Well, first of all, that's ridiculous. I know my own children don't know how to write in cursive, but when I have to write really fast, it's even worse. And as I get older, even I can't read it, which is really horrifying. One thing that I forgot to mention that I want to point out about WiSH is, and a lot of people don't know this, nearly 30% of our student demographics are labeled as socioeconomically disadvantaged.
Oh, and they're the ones that like the music therapy?
No, everyone likes music therapy.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, overall, a lot of people will say, just ask the parents for money. They'll give money, but they don't realize that we
Oh,
really
no.
have nearly
And the cost of
30%.
living has skyrocketed. I have friends that
Right.
work at a couple of the food banks around here. There's two of them that do a lot of good work.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that work full time but still need food assistance
Right.
has doubled,
It's
tripled,
crazy. And so,
quadrupled,
yeah.
and it's an absolute heartbreaking shame.
Right. So we help all kids. Our goal is to help every kid in the district across the board. So there's lots of district-wide programs that go on. We had an innovation grant over COVID and helped students and their families who needed basic help. We gave away foldable desks and chairs to our rising homeless population. We had previously, we have a computer program that used to give out, anonymously identify students who needed computers at home. Then after COVID, we opened it up. We've now distributed over 18,000 out of circulation Chromebooks from the district to students who need it. We're talking big time stuff here that we're doing. We did we did a music therapy program. It was a pilot at one of the schools, and we went, and it was so beautiful and overwhelming. It was these kids, who had lost somebody close to them, and it was so popular, the kids didn't want to leave it. So we worked hard, got some grants, and expanded it this past year to the junior highs and hopefully next year to the high
Oh,
schools.
wow. That's incredible.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, the crux of the joke, I can read cursive. I was just kidding with you. It looks like they're crushing it with music therapy, special ed programs. Actually, I really can't read that one, but it's, what's that third one?
Darn it, I need my glasses.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, concussion software.
Oh, concussion software. Awesome.
Yeah,
Great.
to keep our student athletes safe.
Oh, okay. Even perfect. So,
Yeah.
guys, check them out. It's Over the Edge. It's in the Newhall Crossings at the Lemley Courtyard, August 2nd, 2025, for the WiSH Education Foundation. You've been listening to the Senior Hour on your hometown station, FM 98.1 and AM 1220 KHTS. We're sponsored by Comfort Keepers In-Home Care and Providence Holy Cross Medical Center. Now, please go out and enhance your quality of life by heading one last time, I'm doing it one last time, to Over the Edge by the WiSH Foundation, August 2nd, 2025 at the Lemley Crossing Center, hosted by hometownstation.com. For more information, please go to wisheducationfoundation.org. We'll see you guys next week.